dense and walkable land use. South Point and planned future development projects, there are key drivers in enticing this use in this location. So that was the description.
You could go through though, take out all those ones that, technically, you're right, Ron, that if you looked at that and didn't look at this one, but you wouldn't list it that way.
See, I don't know which ones is C1, 2, and 3. I mean, they're not
Well,
marked.
where's the original one you got? It's listed on there.
I left them there, you should have two of the
Yeah, you have
same
another
thing.
copy in your packet here that shows C1, C2, and C3.
Yeah.
On this, all he did is white out that black for it says C. So those are identical except for this line, that line. And again, I'm not saying it has to be all that, we just have to have a description. I mean, it's required for it to be a part of the ordinance. It has to have, and we can list any conditional uses that you might want in that mixed use. And I know the committee didn't address conditional uses at all, but if you wanted gas stations to be considered, you could list gas stations and body shops as a conditional use in the mixed zone.
But why, I mean, again, why, like, do you think that this right here and this right here is the best place to locate mixed use?
Well, I think they did that along Rice Road because that's where the new interchange is going to be. And to me, that does make sense.
See, I think some of that on Rising Road should be industrial. Like, you got the exit right off the turnpike there. And then you got right down on 50, you get back on the turnpike. That's your tax money right there.
I agree with Ron completely, but it's so hard to get industrial.
Yeah, I know.
There's 146 acres there. You know, it would be industrial. And it's right next to the sewer plant.
Yeah,
So it's
I
really
don't
not,
think I can go for that, but again, like, okay, so take this off the table, but like this, to me, I just cannot get past the fact that it's not the best location for it.
That was all I cared. Well, then I know there's 100 and some acres, if we could extend south one, this is the only place we go out this direction, to extend south one, because this is done, that's Cool Valley. Well, that's the other thing, Cool Valley's always been BPD, the business park development, and whenever we created that zone, that worked for that Juan Sabatino, who owned roughly 1,000 acres there. We approached every property owner within that whole area that abutted this property and asked them if they wanted to be included in that business park. Everyone wanted to be included except one property owner didn't want to be included, they wanted to stay residential. So we adopted that, left them out, and then it wasn't 3 or 4 months later after it was done, they came to us and asked us, hey, can you add us in there? We changed our mind, we'd like to be part of that BPD for our property. I don't know if they got help us out or whatever, but we told them that it's too late now, they've got to go on their own and just stand alone. They have to apply to for a zoning change for the parcel.
But to me, like, that makes sense, like, that this would be mixed use.
And then-
Like, that is good mixed use, like, that's where mixed use should be.
Right.
Right, so I'm okay even, like you said, like, extending it a little bit.
Well, that zone that BPD came from, we had South Point, which is not industrial, but it was all inside and industrial. Then we see anything like the Theodore Park. In the Theodore Park where West Penn Power is, they have a chain link fence and all kind of junk stored out there. It's a true raw industrial park. So business park was halfway between where you can have outdoor storage, but it's all screened completely. Where South Point, you can have industry, but everything was built inside. There's not one thing outside. That was the covenant of the land and part of the SD zone. So BPD was like kind of halfway between raw industrial and South Point.
So Ron, when you're saying, like, you think this should be industrial, what, like, you're thinking like South Point Industrial or Theodore or oil and gas or?
yeah, it's something like Star Point out there. They're building these big, huge, beautiful metal buildings.
They're like BPD, Ron. That's an industrial. They allow that industrial there.
I mean, it's not, no steel makers or paint manufacturers or nothing like that. They're nice buildings. And people rent them for storage or whatever to run their business out.
The relatively mild industrial.
Yeah.
If they're industrial, there has to be a place for them, so I agree with that. It's hard to find industrial. We've never had a new, other than South Point, we've never had a new interchange. built in
But
the
you're
township.
putting it right up against McDonald and right up against, quite honestly, my own neighborhood.
That's not against McDonald.
This is over Rising Road.
Oh.
Right by the store. You know where the road goes up over the hill? No, that's where companies would be getting off the turnpike right there.
But then again, like you have the state, and you have to think about this, who owns Rising Road, and it's literally falling apart right now. So if you have companies coming off of the turnpike, you're gonna
Well,
ruin
they're gonna
those
have to
people's road to
If they
begin with.
do, they fix their roads, they prioritize them. They know
I
they're gonna
think
get
the
more
people
traffic
that-
on that road once
I
the
think the
toll
people that live
road.
on Rising Road would beg to differ, but I don't know. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with
Well,
that.
here's one thing. If you do anything on any road, somebody's gonna disagree with it. We gotta face that. You know, Tanger Road, supposedly, people are all complaining already. We're gonna face that no matter where or anywhere else we go.
Well, the other thing, we haven't raised taxes in 30 years, but we've had 30 years of constant growth, sometimes slow, sometimes fast, but we've had constant growth. Once like South Point has done, you know, whatever we're taking in here this year, we're gonna take the same money next year. And the year after, costs go up, but those people are gonna still pay the same $7,000 check to the township next year, the year after, the year after, and it doesn't reflect any cost increases unless we raise taxes, which, you know, we had enough growth. Every year, if you get more tax base, you can get by without raising taxes. But, so we've got to keep looking to see that every year we can add something.
Right, but that's my point exactly, is like, what did this map, or even frankly, this comprehensive plan do to plan for that in the future, so that we don't have to? It didn't. Like, the people, not all of the people, but some of the people on the comprehensive plan committee were just there to get their own property rezoned, whether it made sense for the future of the township or not.
Well, mixed use is a step up for a tax base than to just plain residential. We've got enough.
It's a step
yellow.
up if it actually gets used as
Right,
mixed
right,
use,
right.
but if it sits
We can't
zone mixed
control them,
use,
then we make it available.
if it sits mixed use for the next, 30 years, it does us no good from a tax.
Well, no, I mean, that doesn't mean a residential developer couldn't come in with mixed use and just do another McConnell Trail project again, or a timber run again. That could happen
But
again.
they could do that as residential.
Right, but at least the opportunity is there for the business decides, hey, it's worth it, we're gonna run a sewer line there.
That's not planned, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
Like,
that
the
is
whole
the plan.
purpose and the reason that I pushed for this for years was so that it was a plan for the future. And
I think
this.
that's what they
like,
did, they
I
gave
don't
us,
think they did at all.
they gave us more tax base than we would have had just as residential by increasing our mixed use.
I agree, like I said, with this, I'm fine with this. This doesn't make any sense, like, and like you even said, like, expand Southland. To me, that's mixed use, and may and probably will actually get used as mixed use, and then it adds to our tax.
Yeah, that's, the most you can do is 100 acres or so, and then it's South Point River, it's surrounded by all finished ground after that, so it's limited. It's almost at its maximum we could do. Well, the other thing was, these properties could keep developing as residential, but in planning, the story always is that for every dollar you spend in taxes on a residential plan, you only take in 85 cents from the real estate taxes. For a commercial, industrial base, for every dollar you spend, you take in almost $1.25. So that's fortifying the tax base.
So show me realistically where we could add commercial.
I agree with Ron, that could be industrial, not that new interchange we have. That's why Southwood, and it doesn't have to be industrial, it could be business park.
One reason I'm saying that is coastal turnpike, and there are no houses around. None around. You have the sewage treatment plant, that's it.
You know where did you spot that treatment plant there, City on the map? Same thing with John Yeager's property there on the bend on East Bishop Road. He has a state road right there. There's a sewer line right down, how many hundred feet down by the underpass down there, or the Montour Trail Bridge. So the developer would run it up there. He'd get some money back from all the houses that tap in along the way, and then he'd get a property developed. If his could develop, it's on the state road. Yeah, it's over 100 acres right there.
But you also have to think from a developer's perspective about the benefit of going there. That's what I'm saying. Like, is there a benefit to the developer to build on John Yeager's property? Yeah, sure, it's 100+ acres off of the state road, but is it actually gonna get utilized by more than just the people that live in like a tiny area?
I mean, that's not our decision. If we make it available, right now it's residential, we make it available, we have a choice of one or the other, the market will decide that. At least we have a chance to fortify some tax base there.
I just think it makes more sense to try to find another location for mixed use from this right here that actually would get used potentially as a commercial. And therefore actually add to our tax base.
There's a ton of mixed use on there. Like you
It's a
said, all
ton.
this over here,
Yeah, it's a ton.
and then over here. You know, it's just,
And this over here.
No, my comments, I would yield to what the comprehensive plan put together. I mean, they did think a lot of those things through. Your fourth point, Tom, though, I could see that adding to that mixed use over there by South Point would be an added advantage. But other than that, I would yield to the expertise of what they put this map together. This is a suggestion, and anybody could come and say, hey, I want to put industrial up there off of Rising Road and get approval for it that way.
you just don't come and get industrial here.
Yeah. Hey, but Cindy was right on that. I mean, that would develop right away. We'd get, South Point would expand, but who knows when it would ever happen, or may not.
There's already a ton of mixed use on here. I would turn this back to residential and I would expand mixed use out off of South Point. That's what I would do.
It's not mixed use, that would be SD.
Yeah, SD, you're right,
Another thing, I'm gonna say it, and I know I'm probably gonna get blasted on social media, but Uncle Jack's property on 980,
You don't have to say it. Yeah, that has to stay like that.
industrial,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, it's hard to get industrial anywhere, and you just never want to give up industrial. That's the biggest planning faux pas. That's such a word anymore. To eliminate it whenever you have, it's undeveloped. Like I said, if you change something in the Theodore Park to something else, it's insignificant because it's already developed as industrial. If you take vacant ground that's been industrial for years and years, it's, that you just don't, it's hard to take it away. And even I think, check out came about this property here, they're showing industrial all around the village of Gilmore.
But why is that different? Like, you're gonna argue and say that this can't be industrial because it's all around the village of Gilmore, but you're gonna leave industrial property, I'm not saying, I'm okay with the list, but like over around Timber Run.
That's not about Timber Run, this abuts,
It does abut Timber Run. Or relatively close.
1,500 feet per inch, it's at least 3,000, at least 2 inches.
So change the zone, it can stay industrial, but make it, change the definition of light industrial then. Because that's the problem.
Yeah, you can take some serious uses out of the light industrial and put them in I-2, there's an I-2 zone, you have probably about 20 acres of that.
I don't agree with it around Gilmore either.
That's already industrial.
Right.
Around Gilmore.
I'm saying, check,
Dawn Fuchs, this is all Dawn Fuchs.
right, that's what they're changing his to commercial. I guess they felt that was their buffer between industrial and their homes. I guess they don't want to have a problem with industrial certainly surrounding
This is actually Tim's right here.
Right, right, but I think he objected to be commercial too, because, were you there, that meeting?
Yeah.